Hello, my name is John Rose, and in this video I'd like to take a closer look at the role the media plays in whipping us into a frenzy. I just read a report recently, a couple days ago. It was very saddening to see the United States come in at 104th as far as being a safe place to live. And the biggest problem we have now in America, it seems, is all the controversy over our presidents. And this is where the media comes into play. They're getting us to divide and conquer. They're getting us to fight amongst ourselves. This false left-right paradigm that so many people fall into is so sad. It's amazing. I hate to say it, but I think the vast majority of people still believe that there's this false left-right paradigm. And yes, there is a difference between the two, but they're still being owned and controlled by the same group of people. So it's an illusion. We're given the illusion of choice to vote for somebody. And what boggles my mind is how anybody wants to defend the president just because they belong to that party. And again, there's a difference. Now, one way to look at the difference between the left and the right would be to look at how Ken Wilber would describe it in his book, A Theory of Everything. Now, Ken Wilber used quadrant systems to try to map and index all the worldviews and religions and philosophies and science. And he did a really good job, but unfortunately, this map is on the wrong path. And we really don't want to have detailed maps on where we are. We want to get detailed maps on how to get out of there, which is the purpose of my quadrant systems that I interconnected. A lot of people like Ken Wilber for what he's done, and again, he did a great job of mapping all the worldviews. But the quadrant systems he uses the factors that he used are really meaningless. But I'm going to use them anyway. Because it's mapping what's on the wrong path. And what's on the wrong path, we've got government. Remember, government is a subsequent need because we're disconnected. There's 10 subsequent needs altogether. If you haven't heard me talk about this, check out my video, The Ultimate Solution. It's an 11-part video series. If you look at the index of this, you can look at the description and you can figure out where to go, what piece number you want to look into if you want to know more about that. And that's what we need. Is we don't want to know that much about where we are. We want to know how to get out of where we are. We want to figure out how to escape this cave of ignorance. But anyway, Ken Wilber did a pretty good job of mapping the cave of ignorance. And according to Ken Wilber, his quadrant systems, he uses interior and exterior, and then he uses the individual and the collective. Now, let me help you make some sense out of that and compare that to the two quadrant systems I created and interconnected and formed the 6-box system, which is a very special teaching tool that I created to help you guys understand everything and not get tricked and fooled. Because Ken Wilber's message can be tricked and fooled. He's a Buddhist, and there's some flaws in some of their thinking. They've been infiltrated, and there's been some bullshit put in there to get them not to understand things. And I know it's taken me forever to get around to this, but again, Ken Wilber uses interior, exterior, individual, and collective. Let's look at the individual and collective. To help you understand, what does that mean? Well, the way I created my 6-box system is I kept finding knowledge, and I put it into a puzzle. I had all these puzzles, and I interconnected them. That's what my special teaching tool is. And we could take a look at any one of my puzzles, and they all have their own little numbering system. And that's like what we can do with Ken Wilber to explain the individual and the collective. Take, for example, one of the puzzles I have has 2 main pieces in it. It's 2 groups of needs. And there are 12 essential needs and 2 additional temporary needs. So what Ken Wilber is doing is saying, I'll take one of those 14 pieces, we have the individual piece, and then we got the collective, the puzzle. So that's what the individual and the collective is. Now, does that tell us anything? It does in a way, doesn't it? Because I've said over and over and over, the most common disease and the most dangerous disease that's ever afflicted mankind is a condition I coined hypoheliasis. And we have it on the individual level A and a collective level B. And I designated that as 0.89, so if it's a problem, it's 103.89, A or B. So the key here is we can individually get reconnected and bump up our biophotons and get rid of hypoheliasis A, but we still got that damn collective. No man's an island. Can't escape Plato's cave. You can never get out of Plato's cave because part of you is still down in there. So the collective has to change. That's why I said over and over. It's our collective shadow that keeps us where we are. So going back to Ken Wilber, I just showed you the individual and the collective. Now how about the interior and exterior? Can we use that in any way? Do I? Well, in a way, if you take a look at my special teaching tool, look at the ultimate schematic. That's my special teaching tool. I'll put links down below. Be sure to look at my latest update because I show things a little more clearly. I tweaked my graphics a little bit better. And what you'll see is that when we look at the plus A box of knowledge and the negative A box of knowledge, that represents the first stage of knowledge, and that's where our belief system is. And it's designated by circles inside each one of those boxes. So our belief system is a circle inside the plus A box of knowledge, yippee. Yeah, but then we got that circle in the negative A box of false knowledge. That's what's killing us. Now, in this case, yeah, we have what's inside of our circle, and what's outside of our circle would be considered exterior, but it's still inside that box. Another way to look at interior and exterior might be to look at toxins. There are endogenous toxins we create ourselves, and there's exogenous toxins that come into us. So now, getting back to Ken Wilber. In politics, the left, the Democrats, the liberals, according to Ken Wilber, they are in the exterior section. They believe that the solution lies outside of us, and we need to have some social program to come along and help us. Now, I can understand that. That makes a lot of sense. In a healthy world, in a sane world, where we had never committed that horrible act and created hypohelios, we would take care of everybody. The collective would always help anybody who got hurt and injured. But now it's taken to the extreme, and it's how the government's being used and goes through these 9 cycles. I've gone over these before, where it starts with bondage, and the very last stage before it goes back to bondage is dependency, and that's kind of where we are right now. So this is what the media is doing. We have been brainwashed for several decades now by this media. Now you got to think about this. It's owned by a very small group of people. So whatever we're being told through the media, we should automatically say, this has got to be bullshit. Man-made global warming, they're promoting it? Huh, you really should question that one. Now, again, going back to the interior-exterior. That's the Democratic approach. Now, the Republican approach, according to Ken Wilber, is that no, they believe in interior solutions. They believe the individual should take responsibility and not be asking for handouts. And I can understand that viewpoint too. In fact, that's what my whole program's all about, is taking responsibility. But you're not going to find very many Republicans who understand how to get reconnected, so it's all a distraction. Politics is a distraction. Government is a distraction. It's a tool right now that's being used to control us, along with the media. So we're bombarded by bullshit from both the government and the media on how to think, and they condition us to think a certain way. And it's not hard to do, because they really push collectivism. Now, collectivism sounds like a good thing, but it's deceptive because it's what we get when we don't have hypohelios. It's an automatic. We know we're all one, and we understand the gift mentality. We know the more we give, the more we receive. And yet, in a sick world, you can't have collectivism. It doesn't work. You can't force people to do this, but that's how they're tricking us into going along to go through this cycle where we're going to go right back to bondage if we're not paying attention. So what is the media doing to us? Well, they're trying to push the liberal agenda. They've been doing it for a long time. And I can reflect back in my younger days watching All in the Family, and this is a typical example of how I was brainwashed to think how bad the guns are, not realizing why there's a Second Amendment. I was an ignorant fool, brainwashed by that stupid television program. There's a lot of things in that program that they were pushing on me, and I actually believed. And I can understand why. In fact, when it came to politics, for the longest time, it was an issue I never got into, didn't study it, so what did I do? I found someone who I thought was pretty smart and researched it well, and I just pretty much parroted what that fool said. And I'm not even going to tell you who it is, because I'm ashamed of it now. Because when I listen to that fool, I think, God, what a pawn. What a scum pawn. Most of the actors in Hollywood are pun scums. What's the word I'm looking for? They're scum. That's what they are. Pond scum, they're not even algae. They're not even that good. Well, that's what it is, actually. Pond scum, it's on the beach. On the beach. Not out in the waters, though. That's not scum. It's a different thing. A lot of natural hygienists call blue-green algae pond scum. Well, that's when it's rotten. But anyway, these guys have got to be the scum. All you actors and actresses, you sold your souls to be on TV and push this bullshit agenda that shouldn't be forced on us. It's not the answer. Again, you have to understand who owns the media, who controls everything. If you haven't watched the Thrive documentary yet, or if you haven't connected these dots yet, watch that, or Zeitgeist Addendum, and you'll get a real good idea that there's a small group of people who own and control everything, and they're brainwashing us, and they're creating our own opinions, and then they're getting us to fight amongst ourselves. So, and then they're also saying, oh, social justice warrior, they're the Democrats and the Republicans, they don't believe in this. It isn't a false left right. See how they try to suck you into this now? It's a false left right thing again? It's neither one of them. That's not the issue. But the issue is the media is whipping a bunch of fools into a frenzy. I can't stand watching the stupid people going around doing the stupid things they do. And the sad thing is they actually think they're doing something good, many of them. Many of them. And again, I can understand because I got sucked into that same thing. That's what gets me so infuriated, is to think I was so easily led into that and was totally oblivious of how I was being conditioned to my values and everything through stupid media. Again, I'm tired of having arguments with people who don't even understand that their whole value system has been planted into their brain by the media. They're totally oblivious to it. Man, talk about the Matrix. Man, this is the Matrix. This is Plato's cave. This is a nightmare, a twilight zone that we live in, where sometimes I wonder if there's enough of us to reach the tipping point. I know there is, but damn it all to hell, the numbers are way off, or way against us, aren't they? Especially when you got such a huge percentage of people who watch the TV and the news and they believe all that stupid shit. Man, I tell you. But it's exciting. More and more people are waking up to this. More and more people are. Now we got to figure out how do we get united. How do we, most importantly, get reconnected, because that's the main thing we have to do. Every time we talk about an issue like the government or the media, if you don't look at it from a raw food, cooked food perspective, you're missing the boat. Why? Because both the government and the media are subsequent needs, because we're eating cooked food. Because we're not getting the biophotons. We don't have all of our senses. We've got the wrong mentality. That's why there's an idea that's stronger than all the armies in the world. It defeats all these subsequent needs that are then used against us, like the government and the media and our educational systems and the medical systems. I'm telling you, my friends, it really is urgent for you guys to keep doing what you're doing. Don't get discouraged. Keep sharing this message. I'm trying to do as many of these darn videos as I can, and I'm thinking, God, I've already done enough good ones out there. Why aren't any of these things going viral? I don't get it. I just don't get it. I know I got a great message. I guess YouTube is really censoring me. I don't know. I know you guys are working your butt off. I know you're sharing my message. What's it going to take, my friends? What is it going to take for just one of my videos to go viral? If any one of my videos could go viral, I was kind of hoping the Eat It or Wear It, what was that stupid title I did? I was just kind of joking around. The Eat It or Wear It challenge I had, Detox Challenge. I was kind of hoping that would go viral, because that would be something that a lot of people would want to know. And yet it's so profound. Test an idea. Prove this to yourself that you really have a demon inside your belly that turns you into a social justice warrior. My gosh, I don't know what to do. What can I say, friends? All I can say is there's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days. There are days I literally want to scream, and I do. Fortunately, those don't happen too often. But I got to admit today, man, I watch too many stupid people on YouTube. It's almost enough to go, okay, give it up. Too many out there are really not in the first wave, and I already know that. Remember, there's 3 waves of heroes. The first wave is going to get us to the tipping point. That's the rudder on the rudder to turn the rudder. The rudder itself is the critical mass. Once the rudder turns, the second wave of heroes, the geezers are going to jump on board. And man, we're going to reach the majority so fast, your head's going to spin. And then the third wave, we'll help them in any way we can. And by that time, we'll have figured out the best way to do that. I've already kind of played around with how we could do it, but I already know that it's hard to visualize how fast things are going to change once we reach the tipping point. That's why you guys are so valuable and so important. Every one of you now that are hearing my voice, and I hope it's relatively recent since I taped this. Otherwise, if you're hearing it 5 years from now, nothing's changed. But hopefully, if you're the ones that are hearing this right now, you know you are definitely the trim tabs. This is something that you should be really excited about. This should put meaning in your life. You should jump out of bed every day going, yeehaw, man, I can't wait to help save someone's life. And you're going to find so many people that need your help, and you're going to find so many that aren't ready, and it's going to break your heart. But man, when you can get one person, all it takes is one person to jump on this, and then you're in for a treat.